Montagraph's lawyer filed for default today against me because I haven't responded yet. Because I asked him politely. Yeah, he served me, and I asked the guy for an extension to file because he served me like right before my fucking birthday and Christmas. So I asked for an extension, and this asshole just never responded to me, like ever. I emailed him, I called him a whole bunch. Now he's saying he was out on vacation in Europe, and it's like weird. I didn't get an out of office email. Your staff never said you were on vacation. They just said you weren't available right now. So he did that. So I had to file a fucking motion for extension and ask the court for it today. Waste of fucking time. I'm very annoyed, actually.
You should beat him up.
Good.
I'm not going to beat him up. It's just like, it's dumb. Like, oh, wow. And he had to admit in his affidavit that he knows I left him a voicemail and an email asking for an extension, and he just ignored them.
You're making all kinds of friends with the local bar association.
I'll pull up the things that they've cited for defamation. Okay, here we go. Plaintiff has selected 4 true and correct videos representative of defendant's defamatory comments and mean-spirited attacks taken from Rekieta Law LLC show, which is not a Rekieta Law LLC show. It's actually a Rekieta Media LLC show. So thank you. Rekieta Law doesn't have anything to do with
motion to dismiss.
That will be filed, I'm guessing. Rekieta Law LLC show, and uploaded them on the Minnesota Digital Exhibit System. In these videos, defendant is heard stating plaintiff, quote, does not have a good name. That plaintiff made a, quote, snuff film about a kid, which he did.
Yes, he did.
That plaintiff is a, quote, fucking also true. That plaintiff has, quote, always been into sucking little boys' That's my reasonable belief based on the stuff you made.
According to information and belief.
So if he contests the third alleged defamatory statement, then that would mean that he is actually homophobic. So he's saying that he is homophobic in a court of law. That's basically what he's stating.
I'm trying to figure out how fucking fat is defamatory.
That's right.
What's wrong with being a faggot?
You're going to go into court. You're going to just put a bunch of cocks on the table. And he's going to just stare and start sweating.
That plaintiff, quote, should probably be shot in the fucking head. That's an opinion statement. That's not defamatory. And that plaintiff is a, quote, retard. Which all comes from me stating very factually that the Americans with Disability Act has an enforcement arm. And what they do is when you get to a sufficient level of social media influence, this is a true 100% legal reality, that when you get to a sufficient level of influencer status, the ADA assigns you a retard that you then have to cater to. It's a real thing. That's how they test to make sure you're ADA compliant in your online YouTube show. This is exactly the context in which I said this, and I maintain it to this day. The ADA assigned retard to me is Montagraph. They reached out, the FBI and Homeland Security said, look, we're the ADA enforcement arm. We reached out to you. We're letting you know that Montagraph is your assigned retard, and you have to cater to him. You have to put an entrance ramp on your jokes so that Montagraph can keep up, because he can't walk up joke steps. He can only walk up a joke ramp because he's retarded. I don't know why this is defamatory in any way. It's 100% true. I have a letter from the government certifying that this happened. Oh, God, I can't believe when these retards go rogue what you have to deal with.
You refer to him like a retard, like you're Calvin Candy. He's like, this he'll be my retard. So I should sell him to you.
The video he's pulling that from, I'm pretty sure, is where I literally said exactly that.
and also, like, has a bad name.
Has a bad name.
It's so fucking retarded. Like, what the fuck?
And he does.
And he does, yeah.
That's the big problem.
Montagraph, yeah.
He literally does have a bad name. He made a video that they wouldn't release because it was so wildly offensive and horrifying. And it's effectively a snuff film about a little boy. That's why they wouldn't release it. It's like the 3rd movie or whatever that he made.
Now, Nick, I have a question for you, because some of this, the way this motion, like parts of it that I've seen, sound like Monty completely. It sounds like he gave it to these guys and said, file this.
Yeah.
But like, that's, I don't know about Minnesota, but there's no way in fuck I would do that here. Like, if somebody gave me some, hey bro, file this, I'm like, no, I'm reading it. Like, if my name's attached to it, like, you can't just do that.
I don't know what the arrangement was based on the complaint. My guess is that they said they would just my assumption and guess is that they said they would file, or they would serve and file a complaint and hope for default. And that if this thing went beyond like default or an initial negotiation, they would want to renegotiate like their agreement. Because I can't imagine they're taking this on contingency.
No,
because the requested amount is only 50 grand anyway. So their contingency is only going to be $15,000.
Sure. But I'm just saying though, did they actually read through this fucking thing and then they still wanted to go ahead on it? I'm like, that alone, that's a dangerous thing to do as an attorney. You just
based on his, I mean, he wrote this affidavit, and so based on the affidavit, all I can think is, I mean, he's attaching his not Montagraph, but the attorney's attaching his name to it.
Yeah, which is fucking, that's just fuck that noise.
Yeah, I don't know, man. And
I mean, I've had all kinds of weird shit where people come to me like, I want to file this, and I read through what they've written. I'm like, there ain't no fucking way I'm touching this.
I've never seen an attorney literally ignore communications with an adverse party and then admit to ignoring them in their affidavit and then move for default judgment. Like here, I'll read that in just a second. Here we go. Upon information and belief, defendant called your affiant's office and left a voice message on December 30th requesting an extension of time to file the answer to answer the complaint until January 31st. On or about this date, it was on the date, literally 6 minutes later, which I told him in the voicemail that I would be composing an email to memorialize the communication. Defendant also sent your affiant an email making the same request. In neither communication did defendant deny or essentially answer the complaint. Your affiant did not respond or offer defendant an extension of time to answer. Like, you didn't answer. Like, you didn't respond to a communication with an adverse party, and then you're going to go to the court and say that the other party isn't making any sort of effort. Okay. I mean, I guess, and maybe the court will grant it, and then we'll have to move to vacate the default judgment, which is insane. Like, I didn't dodge service. I didn't do anything like that. All I did was make a reasonable request because it was fucking Christmas to have an extension to hire counsel and file an answer. And instead of just saying, he could have just responded and said no, by the way. He didn't do that. Instead of doing that, he literally just ignored it, then admitted to the court that he ignored it. I would not do that. Like, personally, I think that would be a pretty extreme move, especially when I called yesterday, left a message with his receptionist before he filed this shit today. I went into his office today to try and get a hold of this guy because he won't return my calls or emails. And then he's gonna file for default again.
Nice Suchka action.
And just so people who don't like practice law, no, like I've never had a request for extension or continuance denied by anyone ever.
Yeah,
like,
you generally
no, that's considered supremely unsportsmanlike.
Yeah, it's wild. And I mean, I have had clients request much longer extensions than 30 days too.
90 days I've seen.
Yeah. So whatever, we'll see. Like, if they want to play this in that way, they're setting themselves up for a really annoying litigation, and it doesn't have to be annoying, but I don't know why you would do that. Well, I mean, I know why Montagraph would want that. I don't know why the attorney would want that. That's what I'm confused
He's
about.
getting paid by the hour, my dude.
Yeah, that's true, I guess. But like, I haven't run into that around here. It's small town attorneys. Like, they typically are pretty collegial.
Yeah, usually in a small area.
I never had any bad encounters with this law firm. Like, I don't have some history with them where they're like, oh, get this motherfucker. And when I talked to them before I opened my practice, they're really super nice. So
maybe you should beat their ass.
I'm gonna pay someone else to do it.
Go do donuts in their parking lot.
Yeah, you should do donuts in their parking lot.
I can't. It's not spring yet.